just the opposite, and they were trying to stir up agitation among the black folk, and it was almost one of those situations of crabs in a bucket until Martin spoke, and then he was the one that brought us all back together again, and much to the chagrin of some of the folk who still to this day think that they founded the movement, ran it, and still own it.
The quadrangle.
Oh, the quadrangle was at that time a part of Atlanta University Center. Many people who don't know the makeup of Atlanta University Center did not realize that each one of the schools was separate, and that Atlanta University Center was the graduate school that was a part of the AU Center but was not connected directly to any one of the schools other than the fact that they were the founders and the nation's foundation for the School of Social Work. Many social workers from all over the country came in to do that graduate work on the master's and the doctoral level there. But it was also the boundaries for those people who wanted to say they were Morehouse students, Clark students, Velma students, and Morris Brown, of course, was a couple of blocks away. But that was also a meeting place and a rallying place where we would first started off as small groups of people meeting, but it was real funny because we had our own quadrangle at Clark, and there were more students who participated in the movement because of our organization and skills from Clark than there were from others. So we just walked across the street. And now, I guess it's been 20 years or so now that Clark saved Atlanta University and bought Atlanta University. So thus, Clark College became Clark Atlanta University. But the quadrangle is still a meeting place for those of us who attended the various schools, 9 schools that made up the AU Center.
Okay. I understand Rush Memorial was very supportive of the students.
Rush Memorial was the place where, after we were not allowed to meet on Morehouse campus, and we didn't have a place big enough to meet on Clark's campus, and it was adjacent to the property owned by Clark, that the minister there was not much older than we, and he opened the Rush Memorial basement to us, and he had a little attic area where that became our meeting place. And Joseph Boone was the pastor there, and he was very, very much involved in being a voice for the movement as we were moving along, and that's why we had personal as well as religious relationships with him and in that church. And Arthur Langford, who was became one of the community representatives, followed him as pastor in that church before he became pastor of the West Hunter Baptist Church. And then there's another real connection between the churches and Rush Memorial and West Hunter Baptist Church in the 1980s during the missing and murdered children cases, that the people who were involved in the movement were the bases and the founders of the searches for the missing and murdered children. In fact, I went to every one of the funerals and every search, and I had just been elected as the first black woman, so I felt a very strong connection and obligation to find our children and who was behind the breakup. And not only that, the accuser's parents were my teachers at Turner High School. And we're going to end on this note. They had worked with my mom and dad in Noonan, Georgia, McDonough, Georgia, because as teachers, the Atlanta public school system did not hire black teachers. So the people who were educated and brought up to teach had to go outside the city limits. But it just so it turned out that Mr. and Mrs. Williams worked over at Turner High School, and when their son became a suspect in the murders, missing and murdered children cases, they called Dad again, and I had, as I said, was on council, and asked me to come over and please speak with him because nobody would listen to him. And as true to my nature, I jumped in the car and went over there, and I said, "Oh, I know what all these cars are here." And so it turned out that they were watching the house. And when I got out of my car, Elgin Bell, who was the chief of police then, said, "Carolyn, why are you here?" I said, "Miss Williams wants me here. I'm coming to talk to their son." And so he wanted me to ride with him on the route that he took that night that he was stopped. And I didn't have any fear, or, you know, I didn't know whether he was innocent or not. And to me, you're innocent until you're proved guilty. So I jump in the car with him, and he starts talking, and the car was just filthy. And it didn't dawn on me that this was something unusual that I was doing until I looked in the rearview mirror and saw just police cars and helicopters and the whole bit following us. And as we went on the route that he took down Jackson Parkway, and at the bridge, he got out and showed me where he dumped the trash. And then I said, "You know, I think maybe we need to turn around and go back now." And we came back to the dumpster where he had dumped some more trash. And we went into his house, the parents' house, after we got back to his house. And it was a shame how they had, you know, just ripped up the carpeting and tore holes in walls, you know, looking for evidence and so forth. But it was a trying experience and very emotional on both his side as well as the side of the kids. And I think the ultimate outcome was a fair one. Okay?
You sure you want to end there? You don't want to say anything else about the impact of the movement? You don't have to. You don't have to.
The only thing that I would add is that the involvement that I had with the Atlanta student movement and my family's commitment to community service has followed me throughout the rest of my career,